Our first witness is Mr. Tim Tarpley, who is the president of Energy Workforce and Technology Council in Houston, Texas. Mr. Tarpley, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman Stauber, Ranking Member Kamaga the Dove, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for inviting me to testify here today. My name is Tim Tarpley, and I'm president of the Energy Workforce and Technology Council, and I'm here to testify in support of H.R. 5616 and H.R. 1121. The Energy Workforce and Technology Council is the national trade association for the energy technology and services sector, representing over 370 companies and employing more than 650,000 energy workers, manufacturers, and innovators in the energy supply chain. The Russian invasion of Ukraine and the resulting disruption of the world energy supply have made it abundantly clear to the world the importance of energy security. Germany, for instance, made a political decision to rely on Russian gas to power much of their economy. With that source gone, the country has been forced to return about 1/5 of its energy supply to coal-fired power generation. We are fortunate here in the United States. We have the resources that we should never have to make that choice. The truth is the United States and the world will need a lot more oil and gas in the coming decades, even as new forms of energy come online. In fact, the U.S. Energy Information Administration predicts that worldwide demand for all forms of energy will increase by 50% by 2050. The use of hydraulic fracturing on land and access to oil and gas resources offshore are two ways that the U.S. can meet this demand. H.R. 5616 and H.R. 1121 guarantee this access and ensure that the rights to domestic resources development are kept from being interrupted or administratively slowed. In 1953, Congress passed the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act, which states that the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management must prepare and maintain forward-looking 5-year plans to schedule proposed oil and gas lease sales in the U.S. Outer Continental Shelf. Under the current administration, this has not occurred. In fact, the most recent 5-year plan expired on June 30th, 2022. This delay is counter to the interests of the American people, as these resources provide significant economic benefits to our workforce and economy. In fact, in 2022, the Gulf of Mexico offshore oil and natural gas industry supported an estimated 372,000 jobs in the United States. And in 2022 alone, oil and gas activity in the Gulf of Mexico contributed approximately $30.8 billion to the U.S. GDP. Additionally, oil and gas produced in the Gulf is some of the cleanest produced anywhere. The U.S. Gulf of Mexico boasts approximately half the carbon intensity of other producing regions. A significant contributor to this is effective methane management. The Gulf is also subject to a strong regulatory oversight framework and has adequate pipeline infrastructure to move product to market safely and efficiently. So we must ask ourselves, why do we continue to delay further production in an area that can provide U.S. energy security, support the U.S. economy and workers, and also provide energy cleaner than nearly anywhere else in the world? Fortunately, we have legislation in front of us today that will force the administration to stop bureaucratic delay tactics and follow the law to hold lease sales and allow Americans access to the resources that they are legally entitled to access. H.R. 5616 mandates that the Secretary of Interior hold no less than 4 offshore lease sales on specified dates that cannot be bureaucratically delayed. In regards to the second piece of legislation in front of us today, H.R. 1121, hydraulic fracturing is currently used on 95% of new oil and gas wells. When paired with directional drilling, it is the safest and most effective way of accessing hydrocarbons in tight shale formations deep beneath the earth. This technology is responsible for the steep increase in natural gas production we've experienced in the U.S. over the last 25 years. A ban on hydraulic fracturing would put an end to the abundance of natural gas that has both improved the environment and aided our allies abroad. According to the EIA, the increased use of cleaner burning natural gas in power generation is the chief reason U.S. carbon dioxide emissions are at 25-year low. And the abundance of natural gas in the U.S. has opened the door to LNG exports, which have allowed us to support our European allies impacted by the war in Ukraine. H.R. 1121 is a simple, straightforward bill that prohibits the president from declaring a moratorium or ban on the use of hydraulic fracturing unless such a moratorium or ban is authorized by an act of Congress. Both H.R. 1121 and H.R. 5616 are key pieces of legislation supporting American energy security. By providing the American people with clear and consistent guarantees that they will be able to access their resources in a timely and consistent manner, We will keep energy costs affordable, keep Americans employed, and support additional investment in our domestic resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next witness is Dr. Greg Upton.